Welcome to the 98% podcast where we hear real stories from real people. And I'm here with Stevie. So, Stevie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I am Stevie King. I live at Lake of the Ozarks. I went to school at Osage in Camdenton, and I am in the Iberries, so that's kind of a new experience. Been singing with them for just this season, so still super new, but it's pretty cool. I'm a mom. I've got 3 kids that are pretty much amazing and all super different in each way, and yeah. My cats are setting off toys in the background. So that's
I hear it too.
that's
Okay,
so fun.
nothing wrong with that.
I guess not. Keeping it real,
Exactly.
It's Peppa Pig, so it's cool.
Okay, so follow-up question real quick. So you said iBerries just this season. So did you perform with other people before that?
No. So I was like, I'd go do karaoke with friends. I did the bootlegger competition like forever ago, you know what I mean? But I mean, like, seriously, 13, 14 years ago. But yeah, that was it. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing for sure.
Interesting. Well, that's
Yeah.
exciting because that's how I saw you on Facebook. Is I remember like seeing you performing. It's like I don't remember her ever performing or singing
Yeah.
back in school. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I've got a lot of that actually. I've had I can probably say on at least 2 hands amount of people from school or any walks of life in my past that are like, dude, I had no idea you can sing. And it's like, yeah, I know. 'Cause I was a little bit more on the quiet, weirdo side. So, I was never like, hey, everybody, I sing, watch this. I will say, there's a couple people like, my freshman year of high school, I had this friend, Sarah, and she used to make me sing Evanescence in this class that we had. She would be like, everybody listen to her sing, like, Bring Me to Life, and I was like, every time I was like, stop, but, she is one of the friends that when this all happened, she reached out. She's like, man, I believed in you since day one. And I'm like, absolutely, you have, man. Like, you used to antagonize me to sing in front of people. So besides that small little corner of people, it's been a pretty well kept secret. So yeah.
Well, yeah, it's been kept well. I didn't know about it. It's funny because I was the opposite. Like I was like in people's face about all that stuff, which is funny because you don't remember, right? You said you didn't remember?
I didn't remember you singing. I just remembered really cool pants.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here, before I tell the story, let's do the first question. So how do you know me?
Well, we went to high school together at Osage. I believe you were a senior. If my lighting looks weird, my kittens are playing with my light bulb right now. Yeah. You were a senior and I was a sophomore in high school. And, I think we had like gym together or something, but I just remember you used to wear really cool pants. And I was like, that's cool. Cause I was definitely an emo, quiet girl. And I was like, he's wearing cool pants. And I appreciate that.
You were probably the only person at school that thought I wore cool pants.
Yeah. There's like, hey, they stand out. I do wear cool pants. I'm not today, but I get it. Like I have some cool pants that are exciting, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I did do that senior year. I was definitely a trendsetter. I don't know if it was in a good way, but I would wear, pajamas to school. I'd wear, the pirate pants. Are those the ones you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
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 And I didn't find out till later that people were like, yeah, it was kind of revealing, actually. I was like, well, why didn't anybody tell me? I was just wearing them for fun. They were they were very thin fabric. but I also had everybody doing I also had everybody tucking their jeans or their pants into their tall socks. I don't know if you remember that, but I started doing that and then all these kids from music class started doing it and then there were like a handful of people tucking their pants into their socks and
Yeah.
walking around school. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know that I actually do remember that, but maybe I think we might have been in choir together too, actually, now that I think about it. Because if you were in music class, you had Miss Platter. Wasn't that our?
No, so I was in actual music class with Kyle, Mr. Kyle.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, okay. Very cool.
So I
Yeah.
never did choir, and I had Miss Platter tell me I should do choir ever since my eighth grade talent show, and I just told her no.
Um, that's
I
okay. Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, I
Oh,
was I was pretty stubborn. Because it's like, but it's like I wouldn't like the songs that we'd be singing, so like I don't really want to do choir, and that's kind of why they talked me into doing music class. I only did it senior year because they're like, you play instruments, like you should do it, and I was like, well, you got to convince me. And I had Tony, and then I had Mr. Kyle all talking me into like, well, you know what? Because I was like, I play by ear, so I don't read music. And they're
I'm
like,
so
oh
glad
well, we'll teach you. And I was like, okay, cool. And guess what happened?
you learned.
I signed up and they didn't teach me. So I had to teach myself how to read music.
Oh no. It's like, wait, but you said
Yeah, you
actually
said you'd help me.
Mr. Kyle is so my 14-year-old, he's a freshman at Osage and he's in the
Uh-huh.
band. So Mr. Kyle is still there. So yeah,
That's
you know,
awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
pretty cool.
Um, so okay, so let's go back to the original question because I just
Yeah,
wanted to get that out of the way so the audience knows how we know each other.
yeah.
But yeah, so you said you were quiet about your singing. I was not. So I think eighth grade is when everybody found out because an eighth grade talent show, uh, I wanted to play a metal song because I metal screamed. I learned in seventh grade, and I
That's
was like,
awesome.
I want to do this, and I got Tony to do it, and I had another guitar player do it, and I wasn't good enough at guitar then to play the talent show, but I was like, I'll sing it, and we picked a song by Mushroomhead called "Solitaire Unraveling." We painted our faces, and I wore a jumpsuit, and it was it was awesome because they did not know what to expect. So I went up there and I was just singing and screaming and doing the whole thing. And I just remember Miss Platter being like, "Whoa!" And I just remember people being like, "Whoa, my mind's blown! Like we didn't know you
Oh
did this for
yeah,
kids." Like, yeah, I just like I've been practicing this for a while now, and I just wanted to have some fun.
I just wanted to
Um,
do
it was funny. So then I was always on the school bus, always screaming too. People would want me to scream songs in the school bus from junior high to track.
it.
So they, so they would say, Ricky, scream. And then they'd be like, everybody be quiet. And the entire bus would go silent. And then they would be like, okay, do your song. And I'd do my screaming song. And then everybody would be like, and they get all excited at the end. It was like, it was so crazy. And it's funny thinking back on that. I was like, man, like I was just all out. Like I wasn't, I didn't hold anything back.
That's awesome. That's
It
so
was
cool.
funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, what did I do? The talent show junior year and senior year of high school. I did that too. And we performed. So that was cool. It was fun times, but
Yeah,
yeah.
good times.
Okay.
Cool. A time that like I don't think I appreciated it then, but now looking back, it's like, man, like I pulled in the parking lot the other day and I was like, gosh, I used to park right there. This is so weird. It was cool. Cool.
Where did you park?
Oh, so the okay, so if you're facing the school, do you remember the parking lot? Like it was kind of like little and off at the end. There was like trees, it was kind of in the middle.
Okay, in the
But it's
middle.
like all the
Okay.
way. Yeah, but like so far away from the doors, like
Okay.
opposite. Okay. I used to park way over there and I would try to park by this tree because it was like, at the end of the day, somewhat shade, my car wouldn't be deathly hot. So
Well,
it
that was
was,
smart.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I always parked on the far left,
far
basically as
left.
far left as you could go in a
Yeah.
parking spot by just, it was me and like two other people, and we just park way over there on the left.
Yeah. Well, it's a quicker way out. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
Maybe that's why I did it. I don't
Yeah.
know why I did it, but
Oh gosh. So yeah.
okay. Sweet. Okay, so just to let the audience know if this is their first one they're watching. So how this works is I gave Stevie the questions in advance to kind of look through and kind of come up with answers, and then we're just going to go through those one at a time, and then you're going to share, and hopefully, there are people out there that can relate to your story. So,
Yeah.
are you ready, Stevie?
I think I am. I hope yes.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to start at the beginning. So, what was growing up like for you?
Um, growing up for me was, I think in an out person's or, an outer perspectives person's, gosh, I'm sorry. My life looked really good. We had a good home. We were about an hour outside of Chicago until I was 11, I think, 11 or
Hmm.
12. And my parents were awesome. We went to church every Sunday, and my dad owned his own business. But with ours, it was definitely a little chaotic. You know,
Hmm.
my grandparents on both sides were like amazing. So I did quite a bit of growing up with them. Every summer I would go spend like a month with my grandma in Iowa and like help her farm. She had like the biggest garden. And so I would help her farm. She had chickens. She had, she had a strawberry patch. I remember that was like my favorite thing. Like she had this huge strawberry patch. And so I would spend time with her, and then I would spend the other half of my summer down at the lake house here at Lake of the Ozarks. That's how we kind of got here. And my grandparents on the other side, my dad's parents, they would come here every summer, and I'd go fishing with my grandpa at like 5:30 in the morning. Like one of my earliest memories is I'd get up at like 5:30 in the morning. I'm talking like 7 years old, maybe 8, but probably just 6 or 7, and I would get the country time lemonade down, and I would like get this little thermos, and I would make myself this big thing of lemonade, and I would throw my little hat on, and I would like sprint to my grandpa's boat because he always told me, he's like, if you're not at the boat by 5:40, you missed the boat. And there was times I missed it, and it was heartbreaking, especially if like he was just far enough away. Like if he was like going out, he might turn around, with enough begging, he would turn around, but yeah. So my grandma, on that side, she was an artist. So, she was always painting and doing cool stuff. So they were pretty cool people. So I related and learned quite a bit from them. So I'm thankful for that. Um, I've got two little brothers. Um, I said three. I have 3 kids, so that's probably where I'm thinking 3. I feel like I have 3 little brothers. No,
Yeah.
I have 2 younger brothers. They're awesome. They're super tall. We're kind of a funny little trifecta because there's me, and I'm 5'7", which is not like, I'm not small by any. I'm pretty tall for a girl,
Hmm.
but my brothers are like 6'3", 6'4", and it's just like I don't understand what happened. Like I missed something here. Something completely missed here. But yeah, so that was pretty much my life growing up. I loved my parents, but they were always kind of doing their own thing, and that's why grandparents are so important and awesome. You know,
Yeah.
they are not in my life anymore, and so anymore now, if I see like a little old lady or a little grandpa that reminds me of them, I'm like gravitating like a total weirdo. I'm like, oh hi, what can I do for you? So yeah.
uh,
Oh, so yeah.
wow. Well, that's a blessing though that you had grandparents in your life like that uh, that could grant you moments like that, because those are fun moments. Like just listening to it from my perspective of like the boats and the strawberry patches and all that stuff. Like that's something not many people get, and clearly it still resonates with you now. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still doing all the things except fishing. I quit fishing with my grandpa when I was about 11. I guess I got just girly enough, like as I was getting older, like I just remember this. I mean, it's imprinted in my mind for the rest of my life. It was very traumatic, but we were out in this cove fishing, and I caught a fish, and I went to get the fish off the hook, and I don't know what hit me, but all of a sudden the fish scales and the slime and everything just grossed me out for a second. I was like, I don't want to touch this. And it was like the first time in my life. And my grandpa looked at me and he just pushed me off the boat. He's like, you're done. He's like, you can't go fishing with me anymore. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, and I would go catfishing off the dock, but I'd like get a glove, and I would be like, or if my cousin was with me, my big cousin, I'd be like, will you take this off this fish? But Oh,
My daughter was like that. So I would take her fish. Well, only every once in a while. I don't fish much, but I took her fishing, and I never catch anything, anyways. But we went to this pond, and she's always like, she was. I mean, at the time, she was probably 5, so she was just like, I want to catch a fish, Dad. I want to catch a fish. You know, she gets all into it. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. So I'm trying, nothing's happening. You know, she's trying whatever, or she's wanting to try. It's like, well, hey, put it like here, hold your line, just put it in there. And I was like, maybe you'll catch a fish. And no joke, right when I said maybe you'll catch a fish, she just drops it in there. And all of a sudden she catches fish. She's like, oh my gosh, she caught a fish. And we're like, okay, let's get it. Let's get it. And then once we actually have it and it's here on the hook, she just like is like, it and she just like gets
wait.
grossed out. She's like she was scared of it. I was like, "Come on, you caught this fish. Let's hold it. Let's take a picture with it because we're gonna put it back." And she refused. And I was like, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
sad." So
exactly.
so she
No,
she
I understand completely. Yeah. Actually, this morning, speaking of fishing and funny stories, I was kayaking this morning in my little cove, and there was some guy that was fishing, and he got his line stuck around this tree. And like, mind you, I'm out there stretching and like being in the morning and enjoying myself. And this guy goes, "Hey girl," from across the cove. He literally was like, "Hey girl." I was like, what? And so I paddled over there. He's like, will you help me? And he like had this huge fish. I mean, like it was like this big. And he was like, it's like his line was all rattled around. I'm like, I mean, I will try to help you, dude, but no, I'm not messing with that fish, you know? Like it was
Mm.
like huge. I'm like, oh, he got it, you know, but I was there for moral assistance, if anything, but I was like, I'm not going to mess with that fish. Sorry, dude.
See, that was like the universe telling you something like, "Hey, you know you don't like fish? Well, I'm gonna make you go
Yeah.
help this guy with this
You
fish."
have to go help this guy. Like, the fact that he called me "Hey girl" and he was like not much older than me was like really funny. I was like, what? Oh, so like, okay.
Well, that's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
Okay. So, ready for the next question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This one is one of my favorites just because I always like hearing people's stories behind this. So, what was the biggest struggle that you've made it through?
Um, I would say, pursuing myself or being myself. Um, I've struggled my whole life to fit in, whether it's with group, friends, family, honestly. I've always just been a little bit of a loner. And when I was young, it was, I don't know, the 90s were a little different. You know, people didn't talk about mental health back then. We didn't talk about, you know, anxiety. And I think what was going on was at a very young age, I had depression and anxiety. Um, I would be at family events like birthday parties, my little brother's birthday party. So no big fancy, you know, things. And I would get all panicked and all uncomfortable. And I would like take off. I would like go and take off and go like either sit in the woods. I would never say anything to anybody, but I would always like basically at the age of like 6 or 7 Irish goodbye my family and go sit in the woods or go sit on the dock, you know, and like put my feet in the water. And as a kid, I think my parents, kind of misunderstood it as I just didn't care or that I was just like, you know, being selfish. And, you know, I tried to explain to them and like, my emotions couldn't, you know, they couldn't regulate, you know, and, as I got older, um, I started, taking it a little more seriously, doing some research on mental health. And I saw a doctor and found out that I, you know, have clinical depression and, the anxiety that triggers it. And I started getting panic attacks in middle school. Um, my first panic attack, I remember I was in 7th grade and I was walking through the hallway and for no reason, I just remember my chest seized up. I couldn't breathe. And it lasted for like 5 minutes. And from that point on, even to today, I mean, I get them often, you know, and so, I think over time, I guess for me, my biggest struggle, it's not depression or anxiety, but it's accepting that that is just part of who I am and learning how to nurture that or I guess, if that makes sense, like, accepting myself. I think for a long time, because I didn't understand why I was like I was really hard on
Uh-huh.
myself, and it made it more awkward, because I'd be like, I feel bad. I don't want to be here. I know that's not cool. And then, either take off or just not show up. And so as I've gotten older, I've learned to address it head on. When I have close friends or family that I'm really close with, I'm very open and honest. I'm like, if I get weird, just know it's not personal, man. I'm just going to go step outside, or, just trying to, I guess, accept who I am, own it, but gracefully try to, like, work with it, so, I don't come off like an asshole. I just remember being like 7 years old. I will never forget my dad. It was like my brother's birthday party, and I walked away from the party, and I was like crying at this picnic table for no reason. And my dad like came up and he was, you need to get in there. It's your brother's birthday. He thought I was upset about something, and he was like, you're making this about you. And I just remember being like this little kid and being like, you don't understand. Like, I'm crying and I don't know why. I'm not trying to be a jerk, And so I think, that's definitely one of those things that, I've found that I struggled with, was coming to terms with who I am and being okay with that, and then, learning to take care of it. And, it's been a long, exhausting road, but it's been nice. I will say for the last, 2 or 3 years, I've seen a whole different side of myself um, that I've honestly never thought that I would be able to experience. So it's nice, but yeah, it's really hard, and kind of funny, being like now and looking back at myself in my childhood and being like, man, I thought I was such a dick, but maybe I really wasn't that big of a dick, like, like it was like the biggest relief, like one of like the moments like that I learned to forgive myself. I'm like, I'm not just a jerk. I actually just have issues. It's okay. you know? So yeah, so that I would say that's probably been my biggest struggle, is like that pursuit of self and being okay with who you are, accepting
Hmm.
that. So yeah,
Yeah. So just to ask a few follow-ups. So when it comes to when you have, I don't know if the right word would be episodes, like say anxiety, like stuff comes up like that. So like, how do you deal with that? Like, what's something that you do just in case someone out there is struggling too? What's something you
yeah.
do that helps you?
So I have learned, I mean, my little brother actually taught me this, but there's Peppa Pig's gonna go off again. I'm so sorry. Anyways, it's ridiculous. And they never mess with it, so that's why it's even better. I didn't even think about it. So my brother taught me to, uh, kind of do this, It's something you can do at your sides, where you basically are touching your fingers to your thumb, and you can either count in your head or make a pattern. Yeah. And you can like do it down at your side, like, or you can like put your hand behind your back like you're itching it, and like do that it just helps regulate like your chaotic thoughts basically, and it helps kind of slow them down. And so like in a meeting or something like that, or up on stage, you know, you can just kind of do that with your fingers, and it helps like, you know, hone you in. If that
Yeah.
makes
So
sense.
is that because it's a form of presence?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at least for me, the way that my anxiety will usually spark is if you get a thought, and then you get in your head about
Uh-huh.
it, and you spin with
Yep.
it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, so it definitely just helps kind of center, just kind of get your mind back to, hey, this is actually right now and right here. And you don't have to go there right now.
Uh-huh.
You can actually just
Uh-huh.
come back to, come back to this, you know? Something else that I've learned that's really helped me is like finding what I love and doing that. Like, I love running and I love kayaking. I love writing, whether it's essay or like a poem or a song. I love sitting there just with a pen and like letting your thoughts just spill out on paper. You know what I mean? It's very like at the end, it's so releasing. But if you don't like writing, then that's not going to work. So, you know, find what you like and do
Hmm.
that more. And I think that that just helps your, you know, your inner self more, if that makes sense. I don't know, but yeah,
Okay.
that
And
one.
then also you perform on stage. That seems like it could be very anxiety inducing. So how do you do that?
I actually, so I did some theater in high school and it was totally my inspiration. I love theater and acting is, you know, I can do accents and I just go up there and pretend I'm a completely different person and it works.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, you go up there and you're just like, and I'm here. And then as soon as I get off stage, I'm just like, hello, everybody. You know, like, hello, I'm gonna go outside for a minute. So yeah, it's kind of funny. My good friends that, you know, either some of the like wives of my bandmates, they're like, we're all best friends. We're all so close. And they just get a crack out of me because I'll be up on stage singing. And, you know, I even like go out at one point, some of my songs, I'll like go stand on the speakers and it's definitely not like some slow paced song. And then I'll come down and I'll be all quiet and they're just like, what? And it's like, I don't know. You know, and then, you know, I shake out of it most of the time. You know, my ladies are good at being like, hey, man, get out of your box, you know, but yeah, it takes me a minute to, to get like that. So yeah, to
I
get
like that. Like
comfortable,
a
I guess.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
persona.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's nice. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
You know
It
what?
works.
I had this talk with someone the other day, and I think it's fascinating. Is creativity. I love being creative, and I'm sure you do too. And I was thinking about creativity as a whole, and it's funny because I don't think it's possible to be creative and to not be present.
Yeah. You have to be very, you think it's, oh, wait, repeat that. You think it's,
Okay.
yeah,
So you can't. I don't think it's possible for you to be in a creative state and not be present.
yeah, I can see that. Okay.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's why I had this discussion because I was talking about how a lot of people there's some people that say like I'm not a creative person, and I think, well, you're not a creative person. Okay, so do you ever just sit there by yourself? Because, for instance, boredom is actually a good thing because boredom is usually when people get creative is because it's like, I got to find something to do. Like, I'm bored. So it's
Yeah.
like you do something. It's like if you're painting or you're writing a song or you're playing or performing, like anything that's creative, like you literally have to be there in that moment. You can't
Yeah.
be outside of it. You can't be anywhere else. Otherwise, you can't create what you're trying to do. So that I
Yeah.
just always was curious if just like if the people that struggle with creativity or the people that have a hard time being present.
Yeah.
I don't
That makes perfect sense.
know.
And I love the boredom comment you made because I make that all the time. So anytime that my like two boys, they're 8 and 14, anytime they're
Uh-huh.
just like, oh, I'm bored, you know, because I'm pretty screen time, like, you know, like we have
Yeah.
Xbox, we have Switches. I play video games. I get it, you know, and I'm like, but you have to have a limit. So once they reach that, you know, they're all like, oh, I'm bored. And I love when they say that because
Uh-huh.
I think I might have read a similar study you're talking about how boredom's
Uh-huh.
good for the brain. And I'm like, actually, that's a good thing. I'm like, because so anymore. I mean, they did it for like 2 years and I would just be like, oh, that's good though. Cause then you can like nourish your brain and do something really good. And they're just, oh my gosh, mom. Oh, and so anymore. I mean, they never complain about being bored anymore. That's for sure. Probably because they found something creative to do.
Uh-huh. Love it.
Yeah.
So that sounds like good
Oh,
parenting skills.
it works, you know, not all the time, but it works. You know, sometimes, you know, I embarrass my 14-year-old. Like, I'll definitely be that dork mom that, like, when he's in a bad mood, I'll turn on some, like, Dr. Dre and be all like, you know, and he's like horrified. I'm like, dude, I will get so awkward, man. I think it's so weird. So when I get
See,
attitude, I just get weird. I'm like, well, if you're going to be sassy, I'm going to be crazy. So yeah.
hey, I feel the same way. I that's part of our job as parents is to make our kids feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's absolute. Oh, look.
Uh,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that that is, it's definitely our job is to embarrass our kids a little bit. I mean, if we're not embarrassing them, then we gotta be boring, and boring's not fun. So,
Yeah. Boring parents, that'd be the worst.
so yeah.
Okay. So next question. So what are you currently going through, that's positive or negative?
So what I am currently going through, um, man, well, I would say we kind of talked about it, but the iBerries, it's definitely been a new process. I had to learn like 40 songs within like this like 6 week period of time. And I had to learn the melodica, which I remember when Roger hired me, he was like, "Oh, do you know how to play a melodica?" I'm like, "What's that?" Like, what is that? And he showed me what it was and he explained it. He's like, "Oh, you'll pick it up no time." I'm like, and like you, like, I don't know notes. I've always played, like, listened by ear, and I'm like, I mean, all right, I'll do it. So, I mean, I was learning a new instrument, cramming 40 songs in my head. And we were having some of these weekends where I think we called them berry weekends. And we would spend full on weekends, staying the night in the studio. And I mean, practicing from, having breakfast together, practicing from like 9 a.m. in the studio until 11 o'clock at night with like a lunch break and,
Uh-huh.
get beers and whatever, and take breaks. But I mean, it was intense, but it was the coolest, most exhausting thing I have ever done in my life. It was amazing, but it took me like a good solid 4 weeks just to catch up on energy. I think just from cramming new music in my head, an instrument in my head, and all of these amazing people that were just like, they just loved me so instantly. And being the awkward weirdo that I am, I'm not used to that. And so when they were so like, "Oh my gosh, we love you so much," I'm like, "Well, really?" Like, what? And it took me a minute to grasp all of it. It was a beautiful change, just, it was huge. It's been huge. So it's good though. So, um, that's currently what I'm going through. I moved back home to the lake, which has been kind of a long, steady, winding road of getting back home. I moved to St. Louis a few years ago, and I think the break was nice, but I have always kind of been drawn back to home. I love hiking. I'm obsessed with Hahatonka. I mean, I really can fondly say I think I've hiked every inch of that park, and I could go live there and know where I am any time of the week, and I love that, and so I've really enjoyed being home. It took a long time and a lot of difficult decisions to get here. So, but it's nice being home. And yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
See, I tell every single person about Haha Tonka because Haha Tonka's the bomb.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm a
Yeah.
little sad. Oh, I have a story about Hot Tonka that it's a little
Okay.
sad, now they've got the castle all like, and I get it. I respect it, but it's not the same. It's not the same. You used to be able to, like, even when Isaiah was a little baby, like I would take him hiking there when he was like 1 or 2. We're talking like 12 years ago. We could go walking like underneath of the one, walk up area where they
Uh-huh.
have stairs, it's really cool. So yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember jumping the little fence that you're not supposed to get inside of it.
absolutely.
Whew.
Yeah, no, I used to run around with my youth group, in high school, and man, and we would never damage anything. We were a bunch of really good
Uh-huh.
kids. We would also, I mean, we definitely went in there. We would go over the little fence and walk around. We'd like sit around and have like little chats in a circle in the castle, we used to go up and climb up in that tower, it's crazy kids. Like we would go in the middle of the night, and that was like the best. You'd go in the middle of the night and sneak around. I mean, I guess I probably shouldn't recommend that. You're
You
inclusive of
probably
that.
shouldn't endorse that.
Don't do that. Never mind. It's a horrible.
No.
It's so creepy. Don't do it.
Endorse-
Oh,
okay.
anyway.
So so tell us about this Haha Tonka story. I got to hear it so we don't
Oh,
forget.
It was cool. So, my son Sam's, second grade trip last year when we were back living in Dixon. So before I moved back to Osage, they wanted to go to Hahatonka for a field trip. And I was like, oh, heck yeah. I try to chaperone like as many field trips as possible, And so all I did was chaperone with no intention, just to go like hang out with my kid. Well, like as we're getting there, the teacher, she was kind of like, um, I think we go here, and she's looking at the map, and I'm like, again, like I'm the quiet, like I'm gonna stay in the background with my kid and hang out with my kid, quiet person. And I finally, I'm like, I hear these teachers and moms trying to like figure out where we are and what we're doing. And finally I walked up and I'm like, I can, I can take you anywhere you want to go. Where do you want to go? And like I ended up, I have a picture somewhere. It was like three different second grade classes. I had any line, assembly line. I mean, I had this selfie where like I took a picture of me and like it was just endless people, endless children tranching through Hahataka. I was like, this is amazing. It was crazy, but it was actually really cool. I mean, I took them around for about 2 hours, and I bet they like saw like so many different things. I took them on some weird trails even. I was like, some people go this way, but we're going to go this way because then you can go, it was neat. It was good. So, but,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it definitely took me a moment of like, I like walked up to this teacher and I'm like, I guess I'm going to take my introverted self and I should extrovert and help everybody. And, she was so thankful. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I'm like, yep, whatever you need. Kids are easier to deal with though. I think that's what helped. Like I had like this big group of kids and I'm like, I can hang out with kids all day long. They're so cool. Like that doesn't bother me. It's adults, they're
Uh-huh.
weird. They're weird.
uh, that's funny.
Um, so yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You'll have to show me those secret trails because I feel like I know Hawatonka pretty well, but I don't think I know it that well. So I'm
Oh
curious.
man.
I'm curious.
You just let me know because it's pretty great. I mean, there's
Okay.
some pretty cool spots. Yeah. That
Okay.
people
I'll
don't
let you
know
know.
about. Yes.
No
It's fun.
way. People don't know
Yeah.
about it?
I mean, some people probably do, but not all of them.
Okay. Okay.
Only the cool people.
Is that what you've dubbed it? The cool people, the
Yeah.
nice ones.
Or super
Okay.
extroverts that find a hiding spot at Hahatonka, where they find all the cool
Mm, okay.
things.
Fair. I'll take you up on that sometime. Okay. So now, who changed your life that doesn't know it?
Oh, that one really sent me reeling, not in a bad way, but like it took me forever to answer that question. I can't lie, that one made me think more than anything. But I would say the person that changed my life and doesn't know it would be so my dad had these best friends growing up. Their name was Steve and Cindy Mansella. They're amazing. They live near Chicago. And Cindy was this really cool lady. I don't know how to explain it, but like she was so cute and so quirky and so funny. And she just owned herself, and I remember as a kid, I always saw, my mom who was drop dead gorgeous, zero reason to be insecure. But my mom, she struggled with that comfortable, like being comfortable in her own skin, and I remember as a kid seeing that and, noticing it. And then when my dad, anytime we'd have these friends over, we'd go to their house. Cindy was like walking around so confident. She had this like awesome job and she was just a boss. And I remember being this kid and being like, I want to be like that lady someday. Like that lady, like knows who she is and she doesn't give a shit. She really didn't. She doesn't, not at all. And I mean, I just glued to her. I remember like anytime we'd come over, I'd go in the kitchen with her. If she got up to like, we'd watch Survivor in their living. It's like one of my earliest memories. She's the one that introduced me to Ghostbusters. And I remember being a kid being like, oh my gosh, this is the best. I mean, for years, every time I'd go over, they would have Ghostbusters ready to go, like in the VHS, and everything. I was like, yes. But when I was 13, she took me to Chicago, and it was when my parents had just split up, and my dad was going through some things, and we went to stay with them, and she took me to Chicago for like this whole day, and we took the train into downtown, and she took me shopping, and we got coffee and our nails done, and I just remember she was so fearless and so, I mean, she was like this petite little lady. She was not like some like strong woman that could like take someone, you know, she was, but the way that she was so, I don't know, about herself and so set and confident, she was just like unstoppable. And I remember as this little girl being like, yep, that's my person. That would, you know, and, I haven't seen her in probably, that's kind of sad. I haven't seen her in probably like 20 years. My dad ended up having a falling out with them at one time in my life. And, yeah, so it, you know, I always tell myself if I ever run into her again, I'm going to be like, I love you so much. Like, you're so cool. Cause she was super cool. So yeah. And that's a hard question because like not to be that person, but I am that like, lovey friend that like when someone changes my life, I'm like, dude, you changed my life. You know, so that was a hard question to to answer. So, but it made me think, and I like that. So that was a good one. So good job.
Good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
question was for me because I do that now, but I was the worst at that because I never really paid attention to how people changed my life. And I never really told anybody. And was trying to think about it because I was like, I don't know. I don't remember where I heard that question before, but I pondered on it and it took me way too long to think about anyone who changed
Yeah.
my life. And I was like, man, like that's just wild to me. And then I talk to people all the time. They're like, oh, I always tell everybody. And it's like, I didn't, and I don't like, and I don't know why. Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting question for sure. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
It's a thinker. Yeah.
it is. It is a thinker.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you thought about reaching back out to her, by the way?
So I found Steve and they're still, you know, they're still married. I found him on Instagram and I found him about a year ago and I messaged him, you know, and I think I got Cindy's number, but you know, they've been through a lot too. I know, she lost her daughter. And so it was
Uh,
like, it was tricky. It was just really sad. And her daughter used to babysit me and it was really, 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 really sad. And
yeah,
so, you know, I haven't like got to like get in her face yet because, you know, respect and not understanding what people are going through. And, but yeah, someday maybe I'll just like show up in Chicago and be like, what's up? Let's go get our nails done. I don't
there we go.
know. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. So, what's a skill or talent you can share with us?
Um, I mean, besides being obviously so hilarious, I mean, I sing, you know, I know, yeah. It's the trauma. No big deal. No, no, I love singing. I have my whole life. When I was a kid, I actually used to like, Aretha Franklin is my most favorite singer on the whole planet. And I can sing quite a bit of her stuff. And the one thing I do appreciate about my talent, I guess, is I have kind of not a weird voice, but a very unique voice and it doesn't match me at all. One of my favorite things, like I did that bootleggers competition. And I mean, there was people that we
Mm-hmm.
went to school with that worked for, you know, JGO bootleggers and all that. And it was awesome. And I just remember I did this Alicia Keys song once. And I remember, I think it was like David Garrison and Trey Kelly and who else? Maybe Josh was there. And I remember they were behind the bar and they were just like, what? You know, it's like, you know, and that's like, I think that's like my favorite. If I'm, you know, I'm really bad about being like, oh, my skill, but you know, I know my voice is cool, you know, and it's different and it's not what you would expect. And so that seeing people's reaction to like what they think is going to come out to what actually comes out, it's fun, you know. So, but I have a pretty big range. I mean, I do quite a bit of country songs in the iVaries, and as much as I hope Roger doesn't strangle me for saying this, I'm not a huge country girl. So, you know, being a Missouri girl, I mean, I can do it. My range is all over the place, but I'm just like, I mean, I garden and I do all that, but I don't consider myself like gonna go throw on my boots and go, you know, country it up. I don't know. I don't listen to country music, I guess, is where I'm coming from. So, if I was to choose what I would sing, it would be, Aretha Franklin, jazzy, bluesy, deep, cool, cool stuff maybe someday, but yeah.
Mm.
Then that's probably what I would say. Poetry. I love writing poetry. Sometimes it's super dorky, but I really want to write a children's book. It's kind of a goal I have because I joke all the time that I'm like a modern day Dr. Seuss. I can come up with the most ridiculous crap. I wrote like a poem for my cat once and it was hilarious, hilarious. And and I remember it came out of nowhere. I was like talking to my cat Charlie, and I was like, "Oh," and I just started saying this stuff, and I was like, that was pretty good. And I started writing it down, and I'm like, someday I'm gonna write a children's book, and people are gonna call me the modern day Dr. Seuss, and then my dream.
Mm.
So yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay. So I still have to hear you sing. I've never heard you sing before.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to come to a show sometime.
Okay, fair.
Fine. Are you
Okay.
asking me to sing right here?
Only, only
I
if you want to.
mean, oh my gosh. I I didn't even think about what song, and I guess I had so much time to think about it too. Oh, maybe at the end. Maybe at the end I'll throw it in there.
Okay, that's fair. Deal.
Deal.
Deal. Okay. You know what's funny is you mentioning Trey Kelly made me laugh because I remember him explicitly at the eighth grade talent show freaking out when I started singing. That's what's
Yeah.
funny. So you mentioned him. I was like, that's exactly who I remember because I remember being at what we were at is it was like right before we performed, they did like a practice, like a full playthrough. And he just happened to be sitting there. I just remember him being like, oh, like Trey, like just really
He did that
expressive.
too.
Yeah, that's exactly
What?
right. Whoa. Yeah. So he did that. I'm just like,
Like a
yeah. And he's like,
literal mind blow. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know you could do that. And I was like, I know. I don't go around just telling people that. Like, yeah. So that's funny that you mentioned that because, yeah, he was there when for me too. Uh,
He's a very motivating guy. I remember it was like, thanks, man. That really made me feel good. Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to get him on the podcast. So I'll have
Oh,
to,
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I'll have to reach out to him and say, "Hey, hop on this podcast." Because I think he said he wanted to, but I don't know if he meant it. So we're gonna find out. I'll see how persuasive I can be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure. I believe in you. I think you can do it. You
I mean,
can
I
do it.
believe in me. I just need to reach out. Okay, so so what are you learning about currently that you could teach us?
uh, I guess, the best way to put it, I am like the queen procrastinator. At least I always have been.
Uh,
In high school, I would never study for tests. I would always cram. It would always work. Will I admit that to my children? No, because I want them to study, but I absolutely would not study. It just, and in life, that kind of followed procrastinating on getting things taken care of. And so lately, I have definitely been learning to stick with some consistency. Consistency is key. Whether that be mentally, physically, I mean, like working out or paying your bills or trying to get up at a decent time, trying to have a sort of a consistent schedule. So
uh
not all over the place. It's definitely helped calm my life down a bit. There was a moment when I first started the Iberries between having 3 kids and a job besides the Iberries and then the Iberries. I was just so tired. And I finally had to be like, okay, probably don't need to go out for beers with my girlfriends after work every single shift. I probably could go home and go to bed, drink more water, all those boring things that I have watched like completely change my life. Like I'm like, I actually don't feel like crap and my bills are paid, and with that like comes time, like you're able to like, you learn things through it and you're able to be like, oh, well, like now I'm able to go on a vacation because I actually set myself up, the right way.
Hmm.
I'll explain that, but yeah, that's at least one of the things. Um, Also something else I think that's kind of I don't know how to explain it. Um, Something I'm kind of learning is trying to choose right, if that makes sense. It's easy sometimes to like, I don't know, get away with doing something an easy way or get away with doing something that, you think that is okay. But it always comes back on us eventually in some way in life. And so for me, for the last couple of years, I have taken some things in my life that I could not control and could not change and learned to just focus on what I'm doing. That's all we can do at the end of the day. Like,
Hmm.
you can't change a person. You can't make them either come forward with things they should or face something that they need to. And all you can do is focus on what you're doing every single day. And so I guess that's what
Hmm.
I mean by consistency is staying on task with yourself and
Hmm.
staying in the right, the best that you can. Cause at the end of the day, it's you, and you
Yeah.
can have your kids and you can have your spouse or your family and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's you. And I used to really neglect that, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
be like, throw myself in my back pocket. I'll take care of myself later. I don't have time. And man, my mental health crumbled. And that's what made me come to this change the last couple of years. I started seeing a psychiatrist, and actually putting in the work for myself. And it felt selfish at the time. But today, like, I am 85% better of a mother. Not that I was like horrible. My kids have always been my life, but I was not showing up for them emotionally at all. I was so tired. I was so depleted. Um, and I wasn't myself in any way, and so I think that's important. And, that's definitely something I am learning to, you know, to put first for reasons other than myself, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it makes a
So,
lot of sense. So
yeah.
consistency, I keep thinking the word self-discipline comes to mind when you say consistency. Is it basically self-discipline?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically just self-discipline. Telling
Okay.
yourself like, yeah, I don't need to go on that date or yeah, I don't need to have a shot after work because alcohol's, yeah, I don't do shots. It's kind of a funny thing with me. I will drink beers, but that's like a rule of mine. And being a bartender,
Uh-huh.
it's so like, people don't understand it. It's like, oh, you don't want a shot? It's like, nope. I don't. It's always the wrong, it always takes me the wrong way. I'm like, it's always
Uh-huh.
just one more notch above where I want to be. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Basically just self discipline.
this reminded me of my fun fact because told you I was going to tell you a fun fact. You remember?
Okay. Yes. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
And it was about you bartending. Okay. You ready?
Oh gosh.
Okay. Okay. Fun fact is I have never had alcohol in my entire life.
Oh, that is a fun fact. Good for you though. I mean, that's awesome. It's not great for you. So, I mean, you're probably better
No.
off. Like, our bodies don't really like it for us. So,
Yeah. No, it's funny because when I was younger, I just didn't really care to do it. And I happened to go like I was around people sometimes that would drink, and I just always was like, I don't really like what's going on here, so I don't really want to be part of that. And then the older I get, the more I'm like, it doesn't even make sense to start now. Like it has no health benefits whatsoever.
no, your liver is like, you're amazing. Your liver
Exactly.
thanks you.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the fun fact I wanted to share because I thought it'd be better in person rather than through text or whatever, just whatever. But
That's cool.
um yeah. Um and then there was something else I want to go back to. Oh yeah, you mentioned this too. So it kind of comes full circle because you talked about letting go of what you can't control. And it's
Yeah.
funny because that's such a simple concept, but it's not easy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, because if you think about it, because it's like, if you can't control it, why mess with it in the first place? Why put any thought into it? But it's funny because we can tell ourselves that, but we still do it all the time. And
Yeah.
it's funny because when we can, yeah, to your point, focus on the things that you can control, whether it be like drinking water, or saying no to this, or saying no to this, or doing this, like it can change everything. And yes, it leads to less anxiety because you're not focused on the stuff that actually you can't solve anyways. It
Yeah.
doesn't like
Yeah.
somebody else, like I want them to behave differently and I'm just going to stew about it all the time. It's like you
Yeah.
can't do
I'm just
anything
gonna be
about that.
so angry. Yeah, there's just so much wasted time and anger, and I've been there. Like I have been that person that just stewed on something for way too long, and it
Mhm.
doesn't help anybody, you know. And so I guess at the end of the day, like I have learned, like at 34, like I joke all the time with like my stepmom, who poor thing, like I definitely was like a sassy teenager. It's like, man, I've really found my zen in the last few years. And she's like, yes, you have. And I'm like, I love you. Like, I know, I know
Yes.
I can be a fireball, but truly, finding that soft spot, like where you're able to be like, okay, life is okay. Whether it's not okay, it's okay. Because
Mhm.
when you just focus on what you can control and yourself and what you can do to be a better person, whether that is just making the right decision as often as you can. You know, I feel like in
Mhm.
life, we are constantly given opportunities to either make a bad decision or a good decision. And that's life. It's constant. It's the tests of life. And I swear by it. But every time, if you choose right, I swear, if like you make a consistency of it, you're going to see beautiful things happen. I have been doing as much as I'm not saying every day of my life for the last couple of years, I have done all the right things, but I have truly set myself out there to try to do good. And, I've seen these beautiful things come out of nowhere, especially in this last year, not just like the eyeberries, but things within my family. And it's just like, oh my gosh, that I'm just, when you finally start seeing the fruits of like your labor of time that you could have spent being selfish and angry and, and you chose not to, it's, it's great, So, and coming from somebody who used to be super depressed all the time and hated life, um, it's a huge deal to be able to say that. So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
Well, that is amazing. Okay. Next question. What are you doing for fun?
Oh, well, I kayak all the time. I've got these awesome this awesome retired couple that they let me use their boat ramp. And so I'm able to drag my kayak in anytime I want. And I love it. So when my kids aren't with me, I will go watch sunsets. I will go watch sunrises. They probably think I'm crazy because I have to drag my kayak up this hill. It's a pretty good little jaunt. And they've offered me to let keep it down there. I'm like, nah, it's a good workout, man. Like I'm good. So, but I love it. I'll go back there at the end of my cove and either turn on music or sing or listen to nothing and just kind of be. So I love doing that. I love hiking, hanging out with my girlfriends. I think as a mom of three kids, you don't have a lot of time, which is okay. But friendships are really important. Good friendships are really important. And so for the last couple of years, or few years, I've really tried to maintain. I have a very small little circle, little tribe of women that are my life. My best friend, two of my best friends have been in my life since seventh grade. And I mean, we are still like that. And I mean, those are the kind of relationships that are so important. And I have been trying, my best friend Sandy and we met, she lives all the way in Humboldt, California. And then I live here. And so we met in Colorado once. We both flew and had a girls' weekend. And gosh, I mean, I live for that. Going to shows. I just went on my first solo concert. My friend Tessa does it all the time because she's such a badass. But I went to see the Alabama Shakes in Arkansas, my favorite band of all time since 2012. I'm such a fangirl over Brittany Howard that I messaged her enough that she actually liked one of my messages once and I almost died. I almost died. That's the singer of Alabama Shakes, just in case you don't know. And amazing, and she was a powerhouse. And I was going to her concert, and I was like, I totally fangirled. I found her on Instagram. I'm like, man, I've been a fan of yours since 2012. This is just 2 years ago, mind you. I'm like, I love you so much. Text me all this stuff, and she liked my message. I was like, I'll be in St. Louis at your show in St. Louis, and I was on my way to the concert when I got an Instagram notification, and it was like, Brittany Howard liked your message, and I was like, me and my friend Tonica were on our way to the show, and I was like, I mean, to this day, I still have it in my Instagram. And if I meet a random person and we get on this conversation, I'm like, no, look, really, she liked the message. So yeah, I guess that's what I do for fun. Yeah, just be a weirdo at shows. I went to that first concert by myself, and I was a little nervous, but it was great. I found this other girl that was there by ourselves, and we totally were like, like hung out and like watched each other's spot while we went and got more water. It was cool. Yeah, it was nice. So I recommend it if you haven't done it. It's interesting.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I can't say I've done a solo concert before. I think I've
yeah,
always went with somebody, but
yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed.
It's interesting, At first you feel a little bit like a loser, but then you're like, but I can be as weird as I want and nobody's here to judge me. And it's like, oh, wait.
That's fair. I'm pretty weird. I'm as weird as I want to be, I think, no matter what. So it
Yeah, I'm
doesn't really
working on
matter.
it. I am a weirdo at heart. I just don't show it. Not
Yeah,
until you get to know me. Then they're like, oh man, never mind.
yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is a fun one. So this question, so we've covered a lot of topics today. So this question is, if you were to have a story of your life so far from when you were born to now, what would that story be called?
Um, yeah, this one made me laugh. It was actually extremely easy for me to answer that because I joke about it all the time, but I think the title of my story is a little long, but I think it would be The Hottest Mess on the Struggle Bus. Would probably be the title to my story. Um, I've always been very naturally clumsy. Um, very much sporadic in my head, with my thoughts. And I've always joked with my friends, I am like a literal hot mess. I'm like, and then I'm always, struggling to, catch up or, and I was a single mom. I had Isaiah when I was barely 20 years old. And so I've always kind of felt like I was 15 steps in front of everybody, but 20 steps behind, if that makes any sense. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I grew up pretty early. And so, there was that. And then I've just been struggling ever since. So then, when you're in your 30s and you see, your friends that went to college and didn't, completely blow their life up when they were 19 with an amazing kid, that's so cool. Don't get me wrong. Um, it took a lot of time, but I'm okay with it. I am clumsy. I have just learned to go with it. I joke all the time that I am Jennifer Lawrence's like distant cousin, because very much the same. Like I tripped on stage going up on my graduation. I remember telling myself, I'm like, don't trip, don't trip. And I tripped and I was like, yep, I did. I did that. So it's like whatever. It's okay. I just kind of go with it, and life is better when you just go with the flow, and when you can learn to laugh at yourself and learn that it's not so serious. So
Oh, I totally
yeah,
agree. Life shouldn't be that serious.
no, agreed, agreed.
Okay. So we have two questions left. You ready?
Yes.
So this one, I guess, isn't so much a question, but this is the part of the episode where you get to share with the audience whatever you want. So anything that we haven't talked about yet, if you want to plug anything that you're doing right now, like as far as the iBerries or whatever, or where people can find you, this is like your time just to promote
Oh,
yourself.
okay. So, the iBerries, we are almost at the end of our season, so we just have a few shows left. We are on Facebook. And so if anybody does want to follow, we have our event calendar on there. we have a really cool show coming up in Quincy, Illinois this weekend. That's going to be really fun. And, yeah, I mean, we're a pretty fun little band. With definitely not what you would expect. One of our t-shirts says "Great band, terrible headache," and it's pretty accurate. It's pretty good though. We're a great fun group of people. We're all way too close of friends, and we get along better than bands should. So sometimes it's a little scary. It's like, is this real? Are we gonna all just like kill
Mhm.
each other one day? Or no, I'm kidding. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I would be promoting. Other than that, nothing new yet, but maybe someday. You never know. Maybe someday I'll be promoting something more than that, but not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Deal. So that's it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Uh, Okay. Okay. So here's another one of my favorite spots of the show. So here we go. So this is where you get to answer the last guest question, not knowing what it was, and you get to create a question for the next guest.
Okay.
So are you ready for your question?
Yes.
Okay. It's extremely open-ended. And the question is, how do people change?
That's a that's a good question. Um, I actually wrote something down earlier and I've been so nervous I've missed like half of my notes. Um, I believe people change in huge ways. And I think we're supposed to, we're supposed to be forever learning and forever growing and forever evolving. And I think that people change and sometimes it's not for the best and sometimes people change for the best. And it just depends on the decisions that you make in your life, and that goes back to trying to always just put your best foot forward in life, no matter what your situation is or where you came from or where you're going or who you are, just trying to put your best foot forward because every day and every decision we make, it is slowly but surely changing us into the person we're going to become. And so whether
Uh-huh.
you want that person to be a good, grown, loving, evolved person that's grown and feels good, or do you want to be this person that's bitter and angry and has like all this regret because you spent so much time being bitter and angry? Um, it's just not a good way to live. So yeah, I think people change in huge ways. It just depends on what their life choices are and what their mindset is, every day. It matters
Uh-huh.
every day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So this got me on a topic here. I love how you said this, but think about this. So I think people have to have a direction or at least an aim on what they want to do, like who they want to be, right? Because
Yeah.
the thing is like then if you have at least somewhat of an idea of who you want to be, then you can decide what actions you need to take that are the right actions to get you to that person. Because your single actions are going to lead you somewhere, and if you don't know who you want to be, how do you know you're going in the right direction?
Exactly. No, like a roadmap, like, of
Uh-huh.
sorts, like having a general idea and that can change, like
Exactly.
again,
Yeah.
how do people change? People change in lots of ways, actually. That's
Uh-huh.
why I can't stand when people never change. That is actually not true unless they are dead set in their ways not to change. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
They're still changing. It's just not in a positive way. So,
Mm,
no, I think that's a big deal. And like I just said, like the person that you might think that you wanted to be, you might get halfway there and be like, I don't like the way this feels. And that's okay. And then you can be like,
uh-huh.
you know what? I think I need to reevaluate who I think I might want to be because I'm halfway to that person and I've put this work in, but so far I don't like what I'm seeing at all. And it doesn't seem
Uh-huh.
to be better. Then, that's okay. Then you just reevaluate again and be like me at the age of 34 and 3 kids and being like, I feel like I'm starting over, but it's okay because you have to we're constantly realigning ourselves and that's all right. It's
Uh-huh.
totally okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. And I like that point too, is like it's either we're progressing or we're regressing. There's no staying
Yeah.
the same.
You
Right? Because you
cannot
face
say
those
the same.
choices. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym, right? When we go to the gym, we work out. We're either working out and getting stronger, or we're not going to the gym and we're getting weak. Like there's
Yeah.
no staying the same.
No, no.
Yeah.
Our bodies are always in
Uh,
motion. So is life, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So now what question do you want to leave the next guest?
oh, my question that I would leave for the next guest is if you could go back in time to the hardest part of your life, what advice would you give yourself?
What advice would you give yourself?
Oh, that's what I have to do that? Ah,
Yeah. Answer your
oh,
question.
okay. Gosh dang it.
Woo.
Shoot. Oh, that's so smart. I would I would go back to the part of myself that was I'm not going to go into detail the depth of the
Okay.
time in my life. And I would tell myself that it's okay to not be like everybody else, you know, and it's okay not to be normal or to want the normal. Um, and that's going to make you a really cool person someday. And that it's okay to be a little bit different or a little off. Um, and accept that. And like the sooner that you learn to embrace yourself, whether it be your flaws or the things you loved about yourself or the things you hate about yourself or what your mom hates about you or whatever, the sooner you learn to like take that and just love it and own it, like life will just get better from there. It doesn't matter where you start from or who you even are. If you just learn to like love that person, it sounds so cheesy, but like once you learn to love yourself, life really does get better, no matter who you are or what you've done. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Nice. I like it.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, so I will answer that question at my 50 episode special. So just to let you
Oh,
know. So
great.
that's what I do is I take all the guest questions every 10 episodes and I answer them myself. So I refrain on the spot. So I make a little thing like that. So eventually I think you're going to be 40, what are you going to be? 44, 45, something like that. So, I got a few more and then I will answer that question for
Okay.
myself. So
I'll
cool.
be watching. Yeah,
You better watch. I'm just
I
kidding.
will.
Okay.
I will watch.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great conversation. So thank you so much for hopping on here as a guest. Is there anything else
Yeah.
that you want to share before we hop off?
I just hope everyone has a beautiful life and a great day. Other than that, peace, love, and happiness, man. That's it. That's all I got.
There you go. Okay. Okay. So on that note, peace, love, and happiness.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you again, and I'll see you later.
See you later.